Okay.
Okay.
Recording to the cloud, and I'll also see if I
I
can
see it there.
make you.
Co-host.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wouldn't let me like make you a co-host. It would only let me make you the host.
Yeah.
You
I
should
think
be
I think
able
I
to-
just like handed it back over to you.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
There's,
we'll see.
you
can
should
still-
be able to allow her to share her screen though. If you click allow multiple people to share screens, it'll allow her to share her screen still.
Aha.
Yeah, my
Okay.
share screen button's still green, so when we
Great.
get to that point,
Okay.
I'll figure that out.
We're on it.
All
All
right,
right.
Lizette, go.
Lizette.
Thank you. Gotta love technology. I'm always learning new things about Zoom myself in the
Yeah.
middle of a Zoom call, naturally. That's always when it happens. My name is Lisette Harrington, and I'm a brand strategist and web designer. I work with creative entrepreneurs and small businesses to really help them hone in and find the voice of their brand. Through brand strategy, and I help them develop their online brand persona and their brand identity and create a website that really showcases everything they have to offer to their target audience. So that's about me. I don't do anything.
And you're back in Jacksonville now, right? Because you left for a little while.
Yeah, I'm back in Jacksonville. I was we were in Dallas it was only a few months, actually. It was 3 months, and then the pandemic hit, and everyone was like, surprise, you can work remotely now. So we're like, okay, we're going back to Jacksonville. We're not going to stay here in Dallas. And it was this tiny little apartment. But yeah, we've been back in Jax for good since March of last year.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Yeah. So that's
All right, Lizette, you want to call on someone?
yes. The next person I can see is Vanessa.
Well, hi there. I haven't been to Tuesdays Together in years. I went once a long time ago, and then life took me a different path, so I haven't been back. But I'm a wedding coordinator with personally designed events. I do a lot of weddings and baby showers and baptisms. So that's basically what I've been doing. I'm trying to kind of grow a little bit more. And so I thought it was a good idea to come back.
Well, we're glad you're here.
Yeah, thanks for coming back. All right, Vanessa, you get to call on someone now to introduce themselves.
Let's see. Nada, is that correct?
Close.
Did I pronounce that correctly?
It's Nada.
Nada.
Yeah, thank you. I was thinking I'm probably gonna go last because everybody's gonna avoid my name.
You're right next to me.
Kudos to you for going for it. I'm a wedding photographer in Jacksonville, but I shoot all over the country and internationally as well. I do some travel. Yeah, so that's mostly what I do. I've gone to Tuesday Together before, so I took some pictures there for you guys, but I haven't attended any of the Zoom sessions. It's been the first time that I was actually able to be here, and I might even have to leave a little bit earlier, but I wanted to at least join today and say hi again and see you guys. So. And that's photo book is
Nice to see you again.
Yeah, it's good to see your face like moving in person and not just in a picture.
nice.
You're on Instagram.
So, Erin, you're it.
Hi, hopefully, can you hear me? Okay, great. Sorry, I'm doing a different Zoom setup, so I was a little nervous, but actually I was going to call on you because you're the only person that I do recognize on here. So I am new to the group. My name is Erin Kelly, and I'm with Kelly Farm Events, and we are a brand new wedding venue in St. Augustine on County Road 214. So my in-laws own the property. They've been in the area for a long time. So he has done a lot of development here in TPC and Sawgrass and Rural Golf Village. And as retired, he decided to him and his wife decided to open a wedding venue. So I'm here helping them get it started.
Awesome.
Very
Thanks,
cool.
Erin.
I'm glad you decided to come along and
yes,
for
I met
Zoom calls.
and I know Nicole Duffy is the one who invited me into the group or how I heard about it, and she's a family friend through her hairdresser. So
very cool.
Gotcha. Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming, Erin. It's nice to meet you virtually.
Yes.
One day we'll meet you in person in 2022, apparently. So if you want to call on someone to introduce themselves.
Oh yes, sorry, I'm like doing it on my phone, not my
Oh,
computer.
you're good.
this
You're
time.
good.
It's Brooke. I see a Brooke Olson.
we're just saying hi, Brooke, and introducing ourselves.
Oh, hi. I just popped in, so I'm late to the party. I'm Brooke Olson. I run Brooke Olson Co. And so we're an agency team / group that we focus on like system setups and VIP days and strategies. So anything operations we probably do or deal with or handle in some capacity for our clients. So,
And she's an amazing financial guru.
Yes.
Thanks.
All right, Brooke. I was gonna say if you want to call on someone, but I think the only person left is Shayla. You're
She might just be listening in.
there. You are.
Oh, there she is.
Oh, you're still on mute.
Hope you're still on mute.
I don't know what happened. I got like 3 notifications. I kind of turned this on, but the notifications. My name is Shalea. I own Frozen in Time Events. I am a certified wedding planner. I do plan weddings, anniversaries. Right now, I mostly just do birthday parties because of COVID. So hopefully weddings pick back up for me. That's what I'm hoping for.
We're getting there.
Great. That's what we're waiting for.
All right, awesome.
I live in Jacksonville about 2 years now. So hopefully they do definitely pick up for me.
Yeah.
Very cool. I think that's everybody. I saw Caleb hop on, but then he hopped right back off. So
Yes. So we'll add him if he
let's-
joins back. But
yeah, if Michelle, if you want to go ahead and kick it off, and we'll get going on
Sure.
pricing strategy.
I will introduce myself on camera and then I'll switch over to my slides. I always prepare my presentations with the assumption that it might be no one or it might be one person, and that knowing that it'll be recorded. So I like that this is a more intimate group, and if I can figure out how to have the chat open and actually respond to you as we're going, I will. But we'll see once I get the slides up.
And we
But
can help moderate that too. So
thank
I
you,
was gonna
thank
say
you.
if you have questions as Michelle goes, drop it in the chat, and then after the presentation is done, if she doesn't see it, then we can go back to it.
Yes,
After you're done sharing your screen as well.
talk amongst yourselves. So I guess welcome. Thank you guys for being here. It's nice to actually, like I said, see faces. A lot of my students are kind of introverty and prefer recorded things. So I usually only get like a couple people, even though it's a big audience. My name is Michelle Hickey. And again, thank you, Heather and Sarah and Tatum for letting me speak tonight. I am a multifaceted creative, and my work spans in a bunch of different directions. I'm a writer, speaker, educator. I do art direction and creative direction, graphic design, content creation, but all really under the umbrella of helping creative professionals figure out basically their calling, what drives you, what makes you happiest, that extends between your business and your life. So that's me. And I will switch over to my slides, I hope. Let's see how this goes. All right. I can see all of you. I can see my slides. It says I'm screen sharing. And I guess if you guys can let me know in the chat or just by nodding your head that you can see slides. Okay. I'm seeing nodding, so I'm gonna move forward. So if you couldn't tell from my bio, I very much identify as an English and arts type of person. Science and math, not so much, which may be kind of strange for you to hear considering I'm about to talk to you about pricing strategy, which has a lot to do with math, but don't worry, you're in the right place. And also if you aren't the most like math science person, maybe you'll find this to be a little relatable. So while I don't find much excitement in math, here are the 2 reasons why I agreed to do this presentation. First, in my over 10 years of creative entrepreneurship, I have been the newbie the seasoned pro and everything in between. I have sold 99-cent printable downloads and coaching packages in the thousands. And again, kind of everything in between that. So even if we're not in the exact same space, you can rest assured that I've definitely been in your shoes when it comes to trying to figure out how much to charge or how to make more money in my business. The second reason, this is really the true reason why I thought that this would be a good idea for me to speak tonight, is the subhead for this session, which is the psychology of pricing. So I'm not a trained psychologist, but I have been studying it for years, and I approach everything I do and everything I teach from a place of mindfulness. So I'm definitely excited to share some of the things that I have learned about pricing psychology and money mindset, because they've created monumental shifts for me in my business, and I know that the same will be true for you. Oh, I just went in the wrong direction. Okay. So, since I know that you guys are going to maybe be on your phones anyway, I would love it if you shared any takeaways that come out of this session tonight. And if you have any aha moments, please tag me. Here are my handles for Instagram and Twitter. Not really a big Facebook user. And also please tag Tuesdays Together Jax, Rising Tide Society, and Honeybook, and I'll definitely repost anything that you post. Sorry, I'm still figuring out my buttons here. So let's jump in. Who is your ideal customer or client? So like everyone, I started my business from the bottom up, and that is to say with 0 customers and 0 clients. My very first venture was designing custom wedding invitations, just like Heather. And I started in 2008, which was the year that I got married. And like a lot of invitation designers I've come to know over the years, I was my first client. So it was very humble beginnings. And if you had asked me at that point in 2008, 2009, for me to describe my ideal customer, my answer would have been something like, I don't know, maybe like anyone who's willing to give me money. And basically, I took anyone could have been my client or customer. And even though I called myself a custom wedding invitation business, I was really all over the place. I did some high-end, some more discounted budget type events, kids' birthday parties, retirement celebration party decor. All of this to say, I didn't offer clarity as to who I was serving. And so I was making it really hard for who I wanted my ideal customer to be to find me. So has this ever been you? I can see you guys, so you can do a hand wave or, or hand raise. Or is this you now? Do you have an annoyingly clear answer about the type of customer or client that you can best serve, or will you just take anyone who you can get? Without an understanding of your ideal customer or client, your head is going to explode trying to figure out how to come up with a pricing structure. And it's likely that you're going to end up with some really muddled looking numbers that will undoubtedly leave either you or your customer or client feeling shortchanged somehow, because something's got to give. So it's up to us to make those decisions and to get specific and to communicate speaking the right language to the right people so that we are all on the same page. There is this misconception that people just want to pay the lowest price and that we are forever at the mercy of businesses who are willing to do whatever it is that we do, but for less. But let's take a look at 2 different types of customers. Why is it that some people shop for pants at Walmart and others go to Anthropologie? Because when paired with the right outfit, you can't really tell the difference, or at least I can't tell the difference in looking at this photo. But if Walmart pants are way less expensive, why wouldn't the Anthro person want to save a little money? And that is because they're someone who wants to experience a different level of service. They want to shop in a store that looks more like a museum than a warehouse. And frankly, they want to spend more money. They want to spend more money to have that experience, and maybe even to tell their friends where they got their pants from. Trying to convince the Anthro person to shop at Walmart is a waste of time. And it's the reason why Walmart doesn't advertise that they offer the lowest prices and the best shopping experience. They know what is most important to their ideal customer. And so price is the focus of their communication. It's the only thing that they really mention. So a little exercise for you guys. Who is your ideal customer or client? What is it that they do? Where do they shop? And who is the person that they imagine themselves to be? Are they on a budget? Or would they prefer to spend more money? And if they're willing to spend more money, are you willing to accept that money from them? Part 2, what is your relationship with money? If your ideal customer or client is willing to spend more money, are you willing to accept it? This is the part of the movie where the main character realizes that they've been the ghost the entire time, and you are the ghost. Because without realizing it, your attitude and relationship with money has a far greater impact on your earnings than the marketplace, your customers, or your clients. Oh, no, not me, Michelle, you might be saying or thinking. I'll take that extra money. I mean, who wouldn't want extra money? But the answer is, it's most of us. Most of us are uncomfortable earning or accepting large sums of money because of the many misconceptions that we have grown up to believe. We're going to talk about just a few of these money-related lies that we've heard over and over again, to the point where they are subconsciously ingrained in us. And the first of these, I'm sure, is familiar to you. Money is the source, or money is the root of all evil. So, okay, if money is evil, you can keep it. I don't want to have anything to do with that. The second popular money myth is that no one wants to spend money. And I got to thinking about this, and if this is true, then what are we even doing being business owners? I mean, why would we pour our hearts and souls into our businesses if we know that we are constantly fighting a losing battle against everyone's wallets? This is probably why some people keep those chains attached to their wallets and to their pants. Third money misconception is that there's not enough money to go around, and that if we earn it, it means that we're taking it from someone else who needs it more. Now, I grew up Catholic and I'm Italian, so this is the one that like really hits home for me. It's the one that makes me feel really guilty. So, mission accomplished. And the fourth money myth, and again, these are four, there are many, many more than these. The fourth is that you have to work really, really hard to earn the money that you deserve. I didn't talk about this in my introduction, but in addition to working for myself and making my own schedule, I also don't have kids. But I never feel like I have enough time to do everything that I want to do. So for those of you with traditional full-time jobs and little ones and people that you have to take care of, I think that the future looks pretty bleak if it means that the amount that we earn is dependent on the amount of hours that are available to us. I mean, truly, we are all screwed if this is the case. So even though we have an understanding that all of these things, these four things, are not actually true, in those moments where we're feeling doubtful, or when we feel like imposters, maybe when we're trying something new, or maybe if we're just having a frustrating day, those subconscious beliefs are the things that rise to the surface and lead us to self-sabotage our efforts. And we end up doing things like lowering our prices out of fear that our customers and clients might think that we're being greedy or being mean. We reject opportunities to collaborate because we're afraid that, what if our business gets too big and then we can't handle it? Or if we lower our prices, we might end up doing a subpar job because we feel like we are now being taken advantage of. Or maybe we're refusing to promote our business because what if people show up? Then we actually have to deliver and there's a chance that we could disappoint them. So if you have ever done one or all of these things, I have done all of these things. It sounds like I know them well. This is why. Just know that you're not alone. But now you have an awareness that it's happening and an understanding that your comfort level with money can be incredibly helpful in determining how much to charge. Now, I could have truly made this entire presentation about money mindset. This is definitely the area that I'm most passionate about. So, but I do want to talk about a little bit more of some tactical strategies. So I'm going to encourage you to continue to educate yourself in this area. I think it is the area that will make the biggest difference for you. There is a book called You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. I'm seeing Sarah nodding her head. That's fantastic. Get your hands on this if you're a reader or willing to read a book or have time to read a book. The Audible version is also really good. I have it on my phone. And I'm also going to grant you guys access to one of the lessons from my program called Create with Confidence. And this is specifically about overcoming issues about money. I have a whole section in my course dedicated to what I call the 7 deadly blocks to growth, and money is definitely one of them. So if you go to this URL that I'll put it in the chat afterwards, or maybe one of the girls can put it in the chat. But it's just my website, michellehickeydesign.com/ttjax. And if all of my setup worked properly, it is an email opt-in, but the video and the workbook should automatically download to your computer. Hopefully you won't have to jump through any hoops. All right, so I'm going to move on to part 3 of 5, by the way, and that is understanding your unique value. So now that you have an understanding of your ideal person, your ideal buyer, and the importance of your relationship with money, it is time to define your value. This will not only act as a baseline for pricing your offerings, but it will also give you the confidence to articulate the worth that you're bringing to your customer or client. It is time to retire that idea of trading dollars for hours, which is an antiquated system that was created for factory workers. That is not us. And when I say that, I don't mean that you shouldn't ever charge by the hour, but rather to rid yourself of that belief that the number of hours you spend on something is the thing that creates the value. Because I mean, we've all been on the other side of this. We've been customers and we've been clients. And frankly, clients don't care that you stayed up all night working on whatever it is that you're working on for them. They don't need a timesheet. They want the finished product or the executed service that you promised them. So consider your level of expertise. If you can do the job faster and more efficiently with a confidence that you'll make fewer mistakes, that is more valuable. But even if your business is new, like Erin mentioned, this is like a new venture, it doesn't mean that you are new. You're not, a child, you are an adult with experience. One of my favorite parts of the film, My Cousin Vinny, is when Marissa Tomei's character is called up on the stand as an expert witness on the topic of automobiles. And the prosecutor doesn't take her seriously, especially after she informs him that her job is an out-of-work hairdresser. So when he does ask her for what her qualifications are, she informs him in her thick Brooklyn accent that her father is a mechanic, and that his father was a mechanic, and that her 3 brothers are mechanics, and that she often helps out around the auto shop. So not only is she more than qualified to change oil in a car, but she also knows specifics about car lengths and tire treads, which ultimately leads to them winning this court case. And apologies if I've just completely spoiled this movie for you. Mona Lisa Vito, which is her character's name, did not need a piece of paper to prove her expertise, and neither do you. If you are confident in your skills and your abilities, that is your most valuable asset. So exercise for you. Number 1, remember that you are amazing in your way. Make a list of your personal skills, accolades, and accomplishments. And think about some of the qualities that you bring to the table that make your customer or your client experience better, easier, or more memorable. Part 4 is to check your math. I use the M word. So it is really tempting just to want to skip to this part, just tell me what to do, Michelle. But I want to reiterate the importance of laying that foundation, of figuring out who your ideal customer or client is, cultivating your healthy relationship with money, and now the third one that we just added to this list, which is to understand your value. And the good news is, once you have this foundation, there's really only 2 more steps, at least in my opinion. The first one of these is to know your expenses. Now, I know that there is fancy software out there, but I just use spreadsheets for this. And with some easy addition, you can calculate what it costs to run and operate your business and to ensure that you aren't spending more than you're bringing in. So if you aren't making a profit, if you can see that on paper, or you don't have a solid plan for projected growth, that's kind of an indication that what you're calling a business is actually a hobby. And this is something that I have experienced before. As I mentioned in the beginning, I don't really consider myself to be a numbers person. I'm an English and arts person. I don't even like looking at numbers. So there were parts of my business where I was going along doing things, feeling like things were working out, but actually when I went and looked at the numbers, I realized that in certain instances, I was actually losing money. So it's really important to look at these numbers and just make it as simple as possible. And the second thing I would suggest doing is to do research. What are other people in your industry charging for their products and services? Now, this is not to straight up copy what other people are doing, because that would be dismissing the foundation that we have laid in remembering that we are unique and that our businesses are unique. So when you're looking at these other businesses and seeing what they're charging, you want to be taking note of who are the highest end people, who are the lowest end people, and which business would your ideal client or customer most likely choose to work with, and which business do you identify with? And as it turns out, I came to this realization when I was putting this presentation together. Pricing is much more of a science than it really has to do with math, because it's something that's going to require some experimentation and tweaking until you find your rhythm. So even if you go through all of these steps, if you aren't generating the income that you want or generating income at all, then you just have to tweak the variables like you would do in a science experiment. So you may need to ask yourself, maybe you need to redefine who that ideal person is. Maybe you need to strengthen your money mindset skills and really ask yourself, am I comfortable earning this amount of money that I say that I want? Maybe you need to ask yourself, are you clear in the value that you're bringing and confident in your communication about that value? Is it possible that maybe you just need to lower your expenses? Or is your pricing in alignment with businesses that are like yours? So I have one last section, and I'm going to move through this pretty quickly, but these are just my personal bonus tips that I didn't really know where to put in the presentation, but these are all things that I feel like have personally helped my business to grow and for me to generate more income. The first of those is to hire a professional. So whether this is someone to help you run your business, someone like Brooke, who gets things running more efficiently, or someone to help you with your taxes, ask for help. It is totally worth it. I personally use a CPA who specializes in small business. And not only has he saved me money, he has saved me a ton of stress and guesswork. The second, I kind of touched on earlier when I was talking about my very easy, basic spreadsheet. So even though I have an accountant, each month I go through every single transaction, which is everything I spend and everything that I earn, and I record it into that spreadsheet. Now, I'm sure that there's a way to very easily automatically generate this, or again, I could have someone do this for me. But because I am not naturally a numbers and math person, I like the practice of making myself look at those numbers every month and feeling like I have an awareness of what is happening in my business. Because as I mentioned earlier, years went by where I was bleeding money and didn't even know it was happening. It doesn't sound like the most fun activity, but it really typically only takes me 30 minutes to do. And I always end up feeling really empowered at the end of it. The third is to step into the role of the business that you want to be. So if in your money mindset exercises, you currently feel like Walmart, but you want to be Anthropology, don't do the fake it till you make it thing, because no one wants to feel like a phony. That doesn't, I don't know, that never feels good for me. So I'd like to reframe this and imagine the business or imagine the person that you will be in the future and just start stepping into that inevitability. So if you're going to end up as Anthropology anyway, what if you could just start doing the things that an Anthropology type business would do? The fourth is to adopt what's called an abundance mindset. So no matter what your bank account looks like right now, there is so much good in your business and your life. And you'll be able to see it plainly as soon as you shift your focus. So anytime you're experiencing feelings of lack, like jealousy or inadequacy or fear, drown out those feelings with the things that are going on right now that are positive and good, and more of that good will come your way as long as you're willing to tune into it. And the last is to remember that we are a collective. With an abundance mindset, competition is not really a thing. It's definitely not something that I think about in my work. And so we don't have to worry about things like stepping on each other's toes or people stealing our clients or our ideas, because we know that there is more than enough to go around. And the more that we encourage one another to do that and to remind each other of that, the farther that we're going to go. Just like the Rising Tide Society's mantra says, a rising tide lifts all boats. So that is all I have for you guys. Thank you again for letting me present on this topic that I may or may not have been qualified to speak on.
You did great.
Thanks. If you want to connect with me beyond this, I have a lot of free resources on my website, michellehickeydesign.com. You can connect with me on social. I also co-host a podcast called A Podcast for Creatives, where we talk about basically work and life as a creative person. We have a new episode dropping tonight, so I would love to say hi if you want to send me a message. And I can try to answer any questions that you have, or if not, direct you to someone or something that can. And I'm going to stop my screen sharing. Okay.
I felt like you were in my head the entire time. I was like, what? like, is my head open? Yeah, I mean, everything that you've I've heard some of the things that you've said before, but thank you so much for, I know that this is not your wheelhouse, but I think you did a phenomenal job. And this is exactly what I needed to hear today. Because I've been struggling with that, with the pricing and asking what my worth is. And I was in another call today with other web designers. And I said, yeah, I just sent a bill for something that I used to do for free all the time, because I thought I wanted to offer more value to my clients. I'm like, dude, that's $500 and I'm just doing for free. That is not a lot of work for me because I know how to do it, but it would take them like 12, 15 hours to figure out how to do.
Mm-hmm.
But like everything that you've been saying is like, wow, I needed to hear this today.
Well, it goes back to guilt too. Not feeling guilty about it because you have put in the time to learn how to do it.
Yeah, when she said, yeah, I'm Italian, I'm Catholic. Yes, Spanish, and Catholic. I totally understand.
Well,
Goes against everything.
I think there is too, regardless of where you are and if you do it for a profession or not, like it was literally just like having this thought process with my husband before we logged on tonight, was I picked up woodworking. And so my brother-in-law asked me to build him a bench. And I have this like level of perfection in my mind that's like, it has to be at this level of perfection. And it's the second piece of furniture I've ever built in my life. And he's paying me material costs. And I'm like sitting here talking to my husband. I'm like, it's not that good. Like I can't, how do I ask someone to pay me money for this? And it's literally material costs. And my husband's looking at it, he's like, are you freaking kidding me right now? Like, are you looking at are we looking at the same thing? So like your perspective on something, because you have this like theory of like, I'm not as good as what you would like go by somewhere else, or I'm not as good as this person sitting next to me. So why should I like charge money when they could go get it from someone else kind of thing? I think we all get in that mindset where you put yourself in this, like you hold yourself to a higher standard and you think, how do I charge people money? When you're your own worst critic.
Always.
Yeah.
Well, and there's times too where people see value in higher numbers. So you could have the exact same product listed for two different prices, and they would honestly probably pay the more expensive price because it seems to hold more value.
Yeah.
And it all goes back to the psychology of it. And it's crazy because like, for instance, I had this product in my shop that I had listed for like $19. I mean, nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Only sold a handful. Well, this year I revamped it, added some stuff to it. And I was like, well, with all, these revamps, I'm increasing the price, from $19 to $29, like nothing huge. I have sold several a week since I increased the price. I mean, it's just crazy.
I've been in some kind of like mastermind groups. Again, it's niched with web designers, and one of the courses I purchased recently, the course instructor is, she recommends, and this is going to be different for every industry, but she recommends us taking our pricing off of our websites. And that for me was very scary because, people want to know what baseline, what am I looking at? Like if you don't see pricing, people are going to assume that you're out of their price range. But what she discovered was that when she had her pricing on her website, she was losing out on business. And again, it's going to be different for every industry, but she was losing out on business because people assumed that her lower pricing, like they had gotten higher prices before. They saw her work and he said, oh, there must be something wrong if she only charges this much. So I'm going to go with the person who charges more because they must be better at what they do. So
yeah, I'll jump in on that. I think it really depends on the industry and what area you're in.
Absolutely.
Because like for me, because I was just thinking, well, I don't think that'd work for me, but I think also you have to find out what works best kind of in your, because what happened to me was once I took it off my page, because I was doing that at first, I was wasting so much time on people that were price shopping anyways, but I'm a DJ. So there's a level I had to get to stop. I guess what happened once I put the price, which was above the average, I stopped wasting time. So people reaching out to me knew my price at that
and you
point.
you started getting more serious inquiries instead of everybody shopping around.
Yeah.
But I can see that if I didn't have the details about my business, I would lose out on business at that point because they don't know who I am at that point. So that way, that your website and your brand has to be very good at that point, so that you are deciphering, kind of like what the speaker was saying too, about how you got to find out who your ideal bride, or sorry, in my case would be a bride, who that is that you want to target, because you want them to come there and either love you or hate you. I mean, I'm not necessarily, but that's basically it. You want them to either, this is my DJ or
right.
Well, and I think this is too, part of what you're saying, Caleb, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I think this influences it also, of whether to advertise your prices or not, has a lot to do based on reputation. Like if you've got a known reputation, I think you can get away with listing that higher than average price like you're doing, because they already know that your reputation is up there. They already know that they're going to get value.
Well, and it's also could be, even if they don't know your reputation, it could be the perceived value of your brand. If you've worked hard to hone in on your ideal client, and then therefore putting your, marketing to your ideal client through your online presence, like that has so much to do with it as well. Where they know, even if they've, they probably haven't gotten married before and don't know you from Adam, like this is who I want because I have seen all their online presence. I know it aligns with my values. Take my money.
Yeah. Right.
And just to give you guys some different perspective on that, because you won't see prices on my website, and I don't give prices away on bridal shows. Like you have to come and sit down here on this couch and meet with me for us to talk about pricing. So to me, I understand you said, well, I was wasting a lot of time because I was getting inquiries from people that weren't going to book. I see every opportunity as an opportunity to practice my craft of helping people see value on themselves, because that's when they pay more for your service.
Right.
We all have
and also,
value to add, we all offer value, but it's when they decide that they're worth that money is when they spend that money. Almost every single time I book a client, I am a lot over the budget that they thought in their head they're going to spend. They're spending another $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 more than when they came in here thinking they're going to spend, because I was able to help them see that they are worth that amount of money that they want to spend.
Right. And that's a good point, because of based on industry too. And you have them sit on your couch, where I strictly deal through email. So I got to deliver a message, but you sit and you do that time, and that time pays off too, because because if you got them at the point I did, they wouldn't, that message probably wouldn't get across to them as far as like, but you were able to talk them up in price. So that is a very good point.
Yeah, and it all goes back to the industry and your business and who your ideal client is as well. Like what you have to feel out what works best for them, because in turn, they're the ones you're, marketing to.
Yeah, Michelle, I was wondering if you could touch on really quickly, I want to be respectful of everyone's time tonight, but if you could just touch on really quickly the difference in pricing. I know you have done products before as digital downloads and you also as a service provider. So touching on that difference between pricing a physical product and pricing a service, like if you could just speak to sort of the thought process you go to when you're like pricing with a service. Your product is yourself, obviously, and your time and the service you give, and with a product there's obviously material costs involved in that, and then also time as well.
Yeah, I feel like the knowing and being able to communicate your value becomes so much more important when it's something that's digital, because people can just download it and it can sit on your computer. I offer a free email, it's like a legit getting started with email marketing course that I offer. And it's completely free. It's pitch free, and a bunch of people sign up for it and don't ever take it. They have the access, just like the people who pay for one of my paid programs have the access. So on paper, these two programs are exactly the same. One is free, one is paid, but it all goes back to that. Someone just said this a minute ago, like the transaction or the transformation is in the transaction. So a lot of times it's really only valuable if the person believes that it's valuable. So the fact that I'm saying that it's free, even though I'm telling you behind the scenes that it is just as valuable as my paid programs.
So not seeing as much of that value because they didn't physically pay for it.
Yes. I don't know if I really answered your question. Is the thought process different when you're pricing something that involves tangible things? Yes. I mean, with tangible things, you need to factor in obviously like cost of goods if there's shipping involved in it. But same with digital products, I consider expenses with that. I mean, we have to pay for platforms for hosting. So I guess even though the person on the other end can't see those things, or they might not be thinking about those things, it is up to us to communicate. Not to say when I'm putting together my sales page, I'm not saying and you get to use my platform where I host my programs, because no one cares about that. So instead of saying that, I have to talk about how, when you go through this course, here is how you are going to transform, or here is how your life is going to be different as a result of finishing it.
Yeah.
Michelle, I was going to ask if I was kind of listening for a second there, and I wasn't watching when you're talking about each month you go and you factor in your expenses. Now, and do you have anything on your website to purchase or to use, any resources to do that? Because every year I get to the end of the year, I get to April and I'm like, okay, time to figure out how much money I wasted. So that's I'm sure I'm the only one that does that. So
I don't sell anything like that. It is really the most basic spreadsheet of all time. But Brooke, who is here tonight, is my personal friend and go-to for all questions when it comes to things like this. And I think I can promote this because it's part under the Rising Tide Society. Brooke is speaking on this exact same topic next week in a different group. So she might be able to either she at one point did sell something like that, or at least direct you to where you can get something like that.
You talking about the myth and the legend, Brooke?
I miss you, Brooke.
Miss all of y'all. Caleb, I'll send you the thing, but system wise, like your accountant's gonna like QuickBooks, and if you see me like rolling my eyes, a lot of people don't like that because it feels very overwhelming to set up. Wave Apps, I believe, is free. It's like a QuickBooks Lite version. But I like to do the cheater method where I use a program called You Need a Budget. And I use that actually for my business. I also, if you work with an accountant who's giving you profit and loss statements, don't worry about the minutia. Just go in and figure out about how much of your revenue, like percentage wise, is related to your expenses. And then focus on what is the biggest dollar expense that is manageable. Because for you, the more transactions you have, the higher some of your costs will be. For others of us, there's a point in time where once our costs are covered, when you have like digital products, you can scale more easily, and that weight becomes smaller percentage comparatively to what you're bringing in. So I do the cheater method, and you can always use the book Profit First to kind of help you figure out what works for you.
Gotcha. Thank you, Brooke.
You're welcome.
All right, guys, that was awesome. I think everyone had some great questions. Michelle, you did an amazing job. And I think it kind of, we all had great takeaways on basically just breaking through some of the myths. Like, I think we are our biggest hold up on a lot of this stuff. So Sarah posted the link that Michelle gave us for the, it was the free, not the free course, the free video from one of your courses.
Yep.
Yeah. And so that's over there, the michellehickeydesign.com/ttjax. And it's in the chat box. And so we are recording this and we will have it posted, I think on our YouTube channel, which Sarah and Tatum are working on still.
So announcement that's been 6 months delayed in the making. This has been in existence for 6 months. We just have not actually gone to announce it. We do have a Tuesdays Together YouTube channel. It does have the replay and recording of all of our virtual meetings since last March. Every virtual speaker that we have had, you can go back and watch on our Tuesdays Together YouTube channel.
Somebody just post in the group, where is it?
Yeah, if someone like posts a public reminder, I will put the link in there. But it's there, it exists. Every speaker we've had is on there. Michelle, your video will be on there tomorrow when I get it uploaded. Not that anyone knows.
If anybody has any follow-up questions, obviously Michelle's in our group. So just tag her. And I think that's it. Thank you everybody for coming. And
thank you guys.
I hope it was helpful.
Thank you, Michelle. That was great. I appreciate it.
Michelle.
Thank you so much,
Guys,
Michelle. Love that.
Thank you. Nice to meet you all.
Yes, nice to meet you.
Erin.
Thank you guys for joining
Nice to
us
meet you all.
virtually, and we will see you virtually for the next.
Sarah, stick
How
around.
many months are in a year? I don't know.
Oh, Caleb, you missed it. We're virtual all year.
Oh, we're virtual all year. Okay.
Yeah, for 2021.
Yes.
All of 2021.
Oh man.
Rising Tide just announced it.
Well, I mean, you'd think this would be easier.
Sarah, do you want to stop recording?
Oh, maybe. Do that. Stop.